something funny for mic check.
Oh my god, I got possessed by NA LCS Pros, I'm gonna run it down.
Get them out, get them out. I can go, he's still, look. Look! Train back a bit of damage. Nisqy mounts up in the Herald to survive. He's going after Photon. He just drifts right through it. Oh, it's the Cars point all over again, baby. Fast and furious. SK want to end this one quick. They got dinner plans.
Can we have a camera on Drakos at all times? What was it? Oh, can you hear me still?
I hear you, what's up?
Okay, great. He was doing the flap day one, and then now he was doing this. I love it. We love seeing it. And we have Nisqy here to talk about SK's victory. You also won the Kia Player of the Game, Nisqy. Congratulations!
Thank you.
Let's go! So, do you feel like you were the most valuable player, and why?
To be fair, I feel like the game was just easy to play. And I feel like my bot lane did really good this game, like they were calling the swaps and whatnot. I feel like they were leading the game. I was just doing Nico things.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would give it to Exakick or DOS if it was me, but
Okay.
I'm happy I got it.
So do they do that often, or is that a side effect of like feeling more comfortable right now that they take the charge, or is it just when they have a good lane matchup, or how does it work?
I mean, when they win bot, they usually lead very well on like knowing what to do in the game. And I feel like this game, for example, we knew that swapping into Smolder was good, so they implemented that into the rotations and whatnot, and I feel like the game, I was just chilling mid and I knew everything that was going on. I was like, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, good, nice. And I was just like shotcasting the game. Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. When it comes to Smolder GB, what do you think about him being in the top lane versus being anywhere else?
Well, I actually thought it was about time we saw more of it in solo lanes because it's so much easier to stack it against melees. But I think into the Volibear matchup specifically, you can quite easily get caught up in a position where you never end up stacking. It's so easy for Volley to proxy. It's so easy for him to have dive setup, not only in the early game, but also with his ultimates. So I like seeing it in a solo lane, but I didn't think that this was the right game for it.
All right, fair enough. You agree?
I mean, I like Smolder top when you have winning lanes, maybe. But I feel like when you have losing lanes, it's kind of rough. You're just there.
Yeah, speaking of, your lanes were doing really well. I mean, yourself included. We wanted to ask you a bit about ISMA specifically. I know you touched on it last winter as well, but how are things going now? And how much do you still think he can improve and grow?
I feel like he is improving week by week, and especially after like every single like official game, he learns from it and then he implements it to the next game, which is very important in my opinion.
And I feel like this was just one of the games where you can just see Isma do anything on the map and he's just allowed to do it. You already talked about it. 3 pushing lanes. The forward proximity of every laner was above 50%, which pretty much just means that every laner of SK was pretty much hitting the tower all the time. So Isma could just pick a lane and be like, okay, now I'm top on this wave 3 crash to apply pressure. Oh, my bot lane still has push. Here's a stack wave. Okay, I'm running bot lane. Nisqy, you have ultimate. We can go in here. Okay, cool. So I just felt like everyone in SK had a good idea of what they wanted to do, and it was just about calling Isma around. I was actually going to ask you, how much is it Isma being proactive as a jungler as well, looking for these plays, or how much is it the laner, specifically in a game like this as well, where it's so easy to call as a laner?
I think it's mostly Isma, to be fair. Like, for example, he went to dive top early game, I believe, and then he was like, oh, Poppy's top, I will just come bot. And then he was like, okay, we dive bot, and he was like, okay, Poppy should be bot now, so I'll go top. And he basically just makes his own plans, and we just follow it.
That's really great insight, because I also was really impressed with how fast he transitioned from that top side play to just be like, recall instantly bot side as well. No camps, no nothing, it's just like, right, and then he was there before the Poppy.
Yeah.
So great insight, thank you.
Yeah, cool to know indeed. Laura was on your stream this morning, I believe. Is that correct?
Possibly.
And she said...
I don't know.
she said that you promised if you were to win that you were going to do your champion impression?
Oh yeah, I did say
So...
But I didn't say I would do it here, but...
you said you would only do it with Laura on stage. Okay. You know, the choice is yours. We can also wait until next time you win.
Okay, we can wait until next.
And then you can do it
Next
on
one, I will
next
do
week,
it.
whenever you win. I don't know when
Okay.
that's going to be, Nisqy. Sometimes you guys let me down. You know, you win and then it's like, where are they? So
Just
next
clip it
okay.
and ship it, and then we have you ready and
Yeah.
accountable. It's there,
Okay.
out there. You said
Deal.
it, there's a digital footprint, so
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can't escape it.
Fair enough. So we were talking in the green room as well about like how convincing this game was, but it wasn't a perfect game. And Vedius was saying that even though we sometimes may think, oh, isn't it easy when you're already ahead to make a perfect game? Actually, it's incredibly difficult. Do you agree?
Yeah, I feel like when you're ahead, like a lot, it feels harder to play clean than when the game is more even. Because when you're ahead, like you have one more item on the enemy and you think that you can 2v1, you can 2v3, you can like 2v4 and whatnot. But I feel like this game from us was mostly playing as 5.
Yeah.
So we didn't give them any like opportunities to like I don't know, 1v2 my Volibear or 1v2 me on side lane and whatnot. So I think it was pretty clean from us. But yeah, I think when you're ahead, it's actually harder to play cleaner.
I think so much of it comes down to the conditions and circumstances of the draft as well. In a game like this, we have 3 winning lanes, it's so much easier. But realistically speaking, you should never have that. And while you can be proud of this game as SK2, you're not going to have this opportunity every single time where you have these 3 pushing lanes. You look at the end of the games, the stats, the damage. Like, this was a total stomp. But this is not something you can just replicate every single time because of the circumstances that happened in this specific game.
That makes sense. SK though, was it 3-0 I believe in winter after your first week? Now it's 2-1. That's all right. Are you happy?
Better.
Are you happy with everything overall?
Yeah, I feel like game 1 or like the first day we were very lost and we were like not sure and whatnot. It was Mad, I believe.
Mad Lines,
yeah, okay, yeah.
Hey, you have to say correct out of anyone.
My bad. And then I feel like after that we reviewed and we felt like stuff were not clicking. And then I feel like the last 2 games we were very good. So yeah, I'm happy with the improvement we made already.
It's been nice to watch you this weekend. So we'll see you next week. Thank you so much,
you.
Niski. And now we'll head over to GIANTX versus Mad Lions Koi. And it's Vedi and Hysterics. Welcome back.
Yo, an absolute pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us. And Sjokz, thank you for the very warm welcome back. I have moved to Berlin. And you know what the problem is here? Let's get this out of the way before we go any further. Vedius here lives around the corner and has not introduced me into the neighborhood.
What does that mean?
Where is the welcome, the hello, the flowers, the baba ganoush? I don't know, whatever you want to enter, you know.
Why do you need me to welcome you to an area that you're already familiar with?
I am an Australian.
You've probably been out more than I have.
It is upside down for me over here. I don't know what's going on.
Have you identified which way the toilet flushes?
Well, yes, I have, and also the strange German toilets. I'm just going to say that's crazy. I don't know what's going on there. Also, everyone's driving on the wrong side of the road. That also hurts as well.
It took me a while to get used to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you come from the UK.
I've made you feel very welcome when you first came here in winter.
That's true.
It's true, we had wonderful casts together. And look, we're going to have another one because we're straight into draft, Hysterics.
And we've got the perfect transition, don't we? We got Niski on desk welcoming us into the Mad Lions Koi with GIANTX on the other side of the rift. Now, Smolder's banned away. Remember, 14-5. Still small touch-ups there, but a big priority champion, as we just saw at top. Vi's the first lock-in here. The jungler still remains relevant over multiple patches.
I wonder if we'll see something like the Ahri paired up with that. We have been seeing her rise in priority, but now AD carries are abundant. Senna, still very prevalent. Supa was an avid fan of it throughout winter. He found a lot of success on it. It wasn't until he went up against G2 that he actually lost on the champion. So I wonder if that will be high on the priority list. Varus, though, of course, still available. It looks like they're going to stick with the Senna. Does make a lot of sense. Maybe they want to pair that up with the Nautilus now, but perhaps they want to grab themselves a jungler as well. Given that they have already seen what they're going up against in the form of the Vi, do they want to play something a little bit more utility-focused, like the Ivern that we have seen from Elyoya when they played up against G2 yesterday, and of course in winter? Or instead, we're going to see something a little more aggressive. I think Belveth would be a little ambitious this early on in the draft. I was thinking about the Volibear because the beauty of it is you can flex it into the jungle, into the top lane. For those that remember the early iterations of Mad when Elyoya first joined the team, this was one of his go-to junglers. This is something that he has a lot of experience on, feels very comfortable on, so could very well be flexed between that jungle and top lane role. We've seen it a lot internationally as well, being played in both.
I love that little throwback. I remember myself as a viewer, you know, watching Elyoya's Volibear was a treat. Let's see if we go down that path again. As on the other side, you talk about AD carries being open. These are big ones as well. Varus let through over to Patrik. The takeaway of that Senna Nort lane that has become a firm favorite, not just here in the LEC, but globally through esports at the moment, has just been the pairing. So as we look on the other side, Senna Tahm, this is something LPL does a lot. And now we're going to see how Mad Lions Koi fare with it.
Yeah, not too surprising. Also very effective against things like the Nautilus ultimate. The single target lockdown that both the Vi and the Varus ultimate provide. The Tahm Kench can take that individual to safety and provides that extra bit of protection. Now the Hui going to be taken away from Jackie's. Just a mid laner that has been rising in priority here in Europe, and something that Mad Lions Koi don't want to have to deal with. You imagine that they're going to look to blind pick their mid laner so they can save this jungle top flex for last. We know that Mrywn has a very flexible champion pool. He's more than happy to play anything on the top side, so maybe they pick something like the Karma, which is of course still up and available. I wonder if Mad Lions Koi will look into banning away something like the Ahri if they want to remove a strong mid-jungle combo away from Giant.
And if we start going back towards Myrwn's champion pool, may as well say Fiddlesticks is open as well. That's an option. We could go anywhere with that. So again, keep your eyes on the prize. They do take away the Ahri on the side of Mad Koi for that 4th red side pick. And let's also remember there's things like the Jace that are starting to come back in the meta as well with some of these point-and-click CC junglers like the Vi. So we'll keep an eye on that as one of the picks that often taken into it in other regions is off the board.
Very deep into the mid lane pool.
We are, aren't we?
To what we've been seeing a lot of with the Akali now taken away as well. We're what direction have we got left? We do have Karma mid lane as an option. As I say, it looks like that's the direction we're going to go in with Talia banned away, Orianna banned away. A lot of the traditional mid lane champions that we've been seeing have just kind of been removed. So I'm very curious as to what direction Jackies will now go. In my head, if you wanted to try and pair up a strong mid-jungle duo, LeBlanc would be something that Jackies could go towards, something that he did have some experience on in Winter as well. But when you look into that comp, LeBlanc feels like a tough pick into that. So I feel like that they're going to lean more towards a control mage, of course. Azir is globally banned competitively right now, so he's not a viable pick either. Rumble is going to be the lock-in for Odoamme, a tried and true favorite for him. Throughout his very long career, this has been one of his favorite champions to bring out in the top lane. Let's see what they will pick for mid, because to be honest, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to know what direction they're going to go with.
I mean, I mentioned the Jace before. That is something that, again, Jackies has already played. Would add more AD damage in, but the Yone comes through. Normally seen in the top lane, but it looks like we are getting the treat of a Yone mid.
So, I mean, one of the advantages of Yone is he is an incredible duelist, a huge threat in a side lane. He can offer very solid team fighting, as you rightly said, thanks to his ultimate and his E in combination. So we'll see how he makes things work out. Okay, the LeBlanc actually going to be rounded out by Fresskowy. I talked about how I expected this Karma to go mid lane, completely forgot that it is also another flex pick. The beauty of this draft from Mad Lions gave them a lot of flexibility with both the Volibear and the Karma. It will be Elyoya's Volibear in the jungle. And then Fresskowy playing this LeBlanc in mids. Volibear and LeBlanc also a very powerful mid-jungle 2v2. And I'm hoping to see a lot more action around mid in this game, because when you do have this bot lane where there's going to be a lot of fight for prio, I imagine an early invade is likely to come through. But I'm hoping for a lot more brawling from the side of GIANTX.
With a comp like this, surely you get it. As we get GIANTX versus Mad Koi jumping onto the Rift now. A little bit of a story. We've got Jackies versus Fresskowy. I think that's exciting enough to run into this. 2 rookie debuts this year here in the LEC. And Jackies, I think his start in Winter was really impressive. Of course, it was on the Nico, which people were saying that was his bread and butter. That's what he's really been practicing and moving forward with. You know, for Fresskowy, we saw, you know, great Akali again. We saw some really great games towards the end of the split, especially as they rounded out and spotlighted up into playoffs. And of course, the fans help as well, especially when the Mad Lions Koi fans are coming out week by week. It is nice to see. Props to them. Not only the KC fans have been coming out, but also I now suddenly want to go to Spain. I don't know what that's about. This just happened.
You're just going to tie those two together? Watching Mad Lions Koi play has suddenly inspired you to go to Spain.
They got the finals. You know, they might win at this split. Then I'm definitely going to Spain in the break.
Ibai doing so much for the tourism in Spain right now.
The country thanks him.
Now we look at this level 1. Early vision invested by MDK. Elyoya covering for his Raptors so that no information is going to be garnered. Supa, though, should be able to get some stacks here. Of course, he is going to be starting with that support item, so you expect Alvaro to be taking the bulk of the farm in the early game. But Senna versus Varus, a matchup we saw time and time again in the finals. It was Varus that continued to get the upper hand.
Ooh, Dredgeline flash. Hang on. Supa gets rooted up as well. Ignite's already down. The Senna runs away with life, but it was IgNar who burned double summoner. And remember, MDK have a bit of sustain. There's potion popping. Supa also with a bit of sustain thanks to the piercing darkness. So not going to be perfect for IgNar. There's Elyoya, meanwhile, just in Peach's face. That is a level 1 Vi with 1 CS. Now has to walk towards his bot side clear. Really good start from Elyoya in the face. I mean, this is what we know Volibear is so good at.
I love the aggression that we're seeing from Elyoya. Nicely set up from Mrywn. Hook connects.
Dredgeline in again. Supa this time has to burn a summoner. It's only the flash, but still low health Varus for GIANTX. Their bottom lane 2v2 is popping off. Patrik with a hail of arrows just out of range.
So ideally you'd want Peach here arriving on the scene to threaten a dive, but because of the early setback from this jungle invade, he's only just recently ticked over to level 2, so there's not really an opportunity for him to try and punish, and also information is gained on the bot side of the map. So thanks to that water, observers just highlighting it for us. Elyoya going to make a path back through his side, or rather back towards his side of the jungle. Nice trade from the GIANTX bot lane, but unfortunately for them, they can't really convert it into much more.
I mean, we do know that in the 2v2, Varus wins all, really. His support influences it a little bit, but Varus has been successful in doing so in the 2v2. You see this lane already off to a rocking start, and we're going to see what Elyoya can make changes with, because right now he has 3 camps to take, or should I say 3 buffs, because now he's in the blue side of the jungle. Peach missed out on his top side, and now is looking for a gank himself to influence, or get in the face of Elyoya while he starts off his Grom.
Looking, but they're not going to go for anything. They do have that priority. But this is what I was talking about earlier, ideally. I got the impression that Peach wanted to start on his blue and then path towards the bot side of the map and then use his bio to then set up for an invade on the enemy bot side. And my expectation was that Elyoya and Mrywn made this play because he assumed that Peach would actually start on his bot side, knowing that Varus, Nautilus should be able to get the early prio and that he was actually going to lose his bot side of the map. So Elyoya is walking away with a huge jungle advantage early on. Fresskowy is set up the mid lane in a very comfortable spot, forcing Jackies to overextend in the lane. Well, Jackies does have a slight experience lead. Fresskowy's going to close that very quickly, but he has a very nice setup for a possible gank. And you'll notice IgNar making his way towards mid to cover for this, but here's Elyoya as well.
I mean, with the Ignite back up and available, just about threats there. Fresskowy gets out, nicely done. Great timing there, away from Dredge line.
Elyoya going to secure the top Scuttle Crab. Peach still finds himself a full level behind.
Oh, Betty, that's kind of like you. You know, remember when I told you I was moving nearby? And then you, instead of coming to greet me, you went the other way.
Yeah. I mean,
you've actually never appeared at my house.
Yeah, so. It was the normal reaction, I feel.
Well,
wise response. Odoamme getting bullied a little bit by Mrywn. He should be completely fine here. Nice trade from Mrywn.
Really good trade.
He has the wave at his backside as well. Look at mid too. You see Elyoya just working with Fresskowy to keep that pressure up. Knowing that Fresskowy is pushing that wave underneath the tower, Elyoya was just hovering, and now they can work in tandem to steal away these topside camps once again away from Peach. With the pressure that they have from Mrywn in top lane as well, there's nothing that Peach can do. Elyoya is going to tick over to level 5, and Peach is just going to have his jungle torn apart. Elyoya maintaining that full level lead. I imagine they can convert this into a Grubs exchange, and I think Peach's approach here is smart. He knows that Elyoya is on the top side of the map. Question is, can Supa and Alvaro interrupt this?
Oh, but they'll die if they come in. I mean, IgNar, again, has that Ignite. Patrik, damage on the Varus can't be understated, even on hit version. 3k, and MDK is still pacing this out. And you can see Elyoya, he's made it back. He's walking towards bot, but he will be too late here. All he can do is get that camp you were mentioning before. That means Peach gets a Dragon, which, let's be real, I think we've kind of worked out. Grubs are nice, but Dragon stacking is still God.
Yeah, for sure. I think Peach made a smart move there. I'm actually a little surprised that Elyoya chose not to go for the Grubs. Instead, he wanted to try and contest this. He's now hovering around the bot side of the map. I guess he wants to work with Supa and Alvaro to make sure this wave gets pushed in. As the control ward. I think a dive would be very difficult here.
Especially without 6.
Yeah, so I imagine his priority is just making sure that they're safe on the push. And start clearing out his Gromp and then pathing back towards the top side of the map. Overall, no kills come through just yet. 6 minutes into the game. MDK find themselves at 1-1. Strong start to the split against SK, but against G2, a difficult opponent yesterday, they still fell short. I find that MDK is a team still very skirmish heavy. They're very good at finding these fights. They love the 2v2s, the 3v3s. They're more than happy to try and challenge you on these side lanes in the mid game. Try and, rather than going for the full 5v5s at every opportunity, they'll instead try to like catch you off guard, force these fights when you least expect them, and then convert that into a significant advantage.
And I think a lot of the time on that note as well, we've seen it's with the direction of Elyoya. I think a lot of the time when Elyoya is in charge and he's controlling jungle space well, that's when it succeeds. Also syncing up with Alvaro too, that's something to add on in. Especially with last split, some of his engaged supports were sick. His Renata, I think, was my favorite in the end.
Sure.
But it's how it's kind of this team has come together. This rookie team with Elyoya mixed into the middle. What's the meme there? F tier or something. Definitely showed us last split getting to finals.
Completely agree. Elyoya completely sacrificing the Grubs. Peach still a full level behind, but he was able to secure 2. The third one going to be conceded. Peach going to grab him the blue buff, but what's Elyoya doing? Invading on the red buff.
Classic.
He has full information, or at least, I mean, there was nothing that spotted him out, but he seems to be reading Peach very well. Knows where he is on the map.
He's 20 CS up, 400 gold up.
Yeah. And the pings are coming down from GIANTX as well. They're like, listen, Volleybet didn't contest me on the Grubs. A very good chance that he's sitting on my red buff right now. Please be careful bot lane. He's probably level 6. And this wave is pushing out, so Patrik has to be very careful. You can see he is suspicious. It's just a question of how far will he step.
He's walked up too far, hasn't he? Elyoya jumps on in, and a cleanse won't be in question. Patrik knows he's dead. First blood to Elyoya.
Ultimately, I will say that's a mistake from Patrik. The information was clearly given from Peach, or at least someone on the side of GIANTX, that there's a very good chance that Elyoya is on the bot side. They didn't have great vision.
Boom.
And I guess he felt safe because he had Flash and Cleanse up, but the collapse came through from Elyoya and Supa. They find themselves first blood.
And this Elyoya lead is spreading across the map. Top side had to back away, pay respect. Odoamme was about 15 CS ahead, still holds that mark. But again, it's that threat that made him cautious. Now bot side with the kill as Elyoya might get spot out, flashes, gets the cleanse this time. Remember, he has the Stormbringer to come on down as for MDK, Alvaro saves the day. Elyoya will be spat back out of harm's way as GIANTX bring through to the show.
Flash exchanged for cleanse there. IgNar threw out the ignite. He will connect another hook. And
doing it again.
GIANTX looking for a bit more of a fight. The re-engage.
The knock-up is there. Elyoya, remember, still with the ulti out. The darkness comes through, and with that ult of Senna, they buy more time. Stormbringer on the spot, which Peach flashes away from. Now IgNar looking for a re-engage as he's just hit level 6. Depth charge can bring this back in, but for Patrik, no chains of corruption, and everyone walks away.
Number of summoner spells burnt. Both AD carries hold on to their flashes for now, but junglers lost. Summoner spells gone for the supports. And I kept my eyes on mid lane throughout that entire exchange because I thought that either Fresskowy or Jackies was going to make their way down, but they ended up maintaining their trades in the mid lane. And no one ends up falling. MDK going to hold on to the gold lead for now. Dragon going to be spawning in about a minute's time. Can you imagine this will be the next objective that both junglers have their eyes on?
And while we do look towards that dragon, just remember there's a full clear topside for Elyoya before that comes up. Because of all the stealing he's been doing, he's still got 4 camps available if he so chooses. Scuttle on top of that as well. CS Diff is changing the mark here as Dragon gets closer.
Crucial to note that Peach did go back to base, and even though Elyoya has a level advantage, he hasn't spent that gold. So even though you see a difference, look at the items. 2 long swords over the tunneler of Elyoya. So in terms of itemization, Peach should be ahead. So it's a little dangerous for Elyoya to try and force this objective. 20 seconds until the dragon spawns. No TP available for Mrywn. But the same can be said for Odoamme. Fresskowy's a little bit low. He also needs to reset, which Jackies is currently in the process of. So I feel like GIANTX are in a better map state to actually contest this dragon. It depends on how quickly they actually start the objective.
So it's a good point. We'll keep our eyes and see. For the time being, Elyoya does go back. But as you said, the map state favors GIANTX. They're here first. Dragon spawned. And note here, even though that Elyoya's gone back and pick up the Sundered Sky, he's going to be late to this show if GIANTX start it now.
Here we go. The objective going to be started off. Elyoya is making a beeline towards the objective. Mrywn's still in top lane, but Fresskowy on his way as well. Is he going to sacrifice that mid wave because they bought time? Elyoya now has had the chance to spend that gold.
Alvaro has his ulti back up as well. Keep in mind, as Fresskowy now spotted out in this angle, IgNar sets up for a dredge line, connects as well. Jackie's
Odo
chain of
has
corruption
TP.
was used. You mentioned that Odo should be coming in, but as Alvaro picks up the trigger, when is going to be the answer? For Peach and Jackie's now they're the target, and the jungler's just erupted and destroyed. Fresskowy nukes him to oblivion as Odoamme now comes through. Elyoya was saved, but as Odo flies on through, his damage immense, but they can't finish the job. Fresskowy comes on a back end as well, and GIANTX are getting collapsed on. Oh, dearie me. Jackie's trying to bring back the play, but now the Mrywn has shown up. It's Jackie's in the middle of it all as well. One by one, they go to their deaths, and the Mad Lions Koi are an angry fish again.
A catastrophe of a fight for GIANTX. The TP comes in late. They lose a member before the fight even starts. Alvaro buys so much time by taking his jungler to safety. And they're just going to walk away with, what, 3-4 kills off the back of that? Very well played by MDK.
There's 3 kills on Fresskowy. You know, remember how mid lane was so silent before? And set me up here, Vedi, because we said GIANTX had the item advantage until Mad brought all the show in.
That they did, and so they start by engaging onto Fresskowy. That was 3 ultimates used on the top side that don't connect onto anyone.
Yep.
Now it's immediate retreat. The TP only comes in now. And then Peach has already lost his life. Bear in mind, the Rumble doesn't have the ultimate either. I was expecting the red carpet to fall, but it's not available because he used it in a top lane skirmish. So it's a 4 versus 4. Odoamme ends up doing nothing in the fight. Fresskowy is just completely decimated Patrik. And they just tear GIANTX apart. It ends up being 4 kills. And frustration on the faces of GIANTX.
Yeah. here in the background. That's frustration at its core. For GIANTX now, they might have found Elyoya, but 4 members are here. That's strange. I guess he has flash ulti available. They can't take him on, nor do they want to, with MadKoi grouping up around topside and getting more plays.
MDK feeling confident right now. Elyoya has been involved in every single kill for his team. We see that Odoamme has pressure on the bot side of the map. Alvaro is actually just holding him in isolation. Bear in mind, we didn't mention it, but the TP on the Tahm Kench gives him so much global pressure, and he did receive that early gold investment, which means that he's now the side lane threat against Odoamme. Peach with the ult.
Pick onto Mrywn. This Karma has flash available, going to use it, gets out of range, but depth charge follows through. Chain of Corruption misses here. Dredgeline pulls back in. Again, a lot used, and he's taking a while to die. In the meanwhile, Fresskowy makes it a trade. I mean, it just never goes wrong for MadKoi.
Seemed like it. Mrywn did everything that he could. A nice collapse for GIANTX. The problem is the kill went down onto IgNar. That is not the person you want that gold to be handed over to. And as you rightly said, we didn't quite get to see it on our screens, but MDK picking up that kill in mid, really going to nullify the fact that Mrywn lost his life on the top side. 6 plates secured for MDK. They find themselves with a 4K gold lead. The Inferno Dragon still up, by the way, now going to be secured by Elyoya.
I think what we've learned about GIANTX composition in this game, that once those ultis down, kind of useless. Like, we know there's DPS from the Varus, we know there's DPS from the Yone, but those tools are very important. We saw in the last fight, engaged onto one target, misses. What do you do for the fight? We saw up there, misses on the Karma, the damage to follow through, the follow-up in general, also lacking. And I think it's important to note here that it's going to get harder, considering that for GIANTX, they're now down 4,000 gold here at the 14-minute mark as we get out of lanes, as we get out of plating. They've slowed that Dragon push down. And now also Rift Herald there for the taking. Remember, only 2 grubs were taken in the end. So it is just an open opportunity here as Fresskowy takes a bad trade.
Yeah, very nice stuff there from Jackies. In the extended trade, you would naturally favor the Yone, just because he can keep hitting you with those autos. But Fresskowy, still a very scary LeBlanc. Always love seeing LeBlanc in competitive, just because in the late game she becomes this lethal poke champion.
True. Game can end from one sick play.
I think like the best LeBlanc players in the world will work with their support to just create these pockets of darkness, and then you think that it's safe, and then all of a sudden she jumps over the wall, takes 2/3 of your health, and then you're like, well, now you can't contest this objective. Sucks to be you.
Now the game feels like it's over again. It's one of those pockets of vision that you can really take over the game.
Speaking of pockets of vision.
Dredgeline, depth charge, knock him up. This time everything connects. Shutdown unfortunately goes to Peach, but it's another pick as Elyoya doesn't use the Stormbringer to get out of this one. He's caught out later, does he though? But Dredgeline back in. Alvaro, you hero, trying to get to the blast cone, not in time. Elyoya is still sent outwards because of it though, as he runs on all fours trying to get away. While GIANTX have not just found a pick here, they've found a pick mid. And MadKoi lose 2 in a quick instant.
What is happening? MDK, after what has been a very good early game, it's just getting caught all over the map. Really nice collapse on the top side. Fresskowy thought that he could just clear that wave. He was not expecting Peach and IgNar to be sitting in the brush. Another engage in mids.
This time Senna and Tahm Kench though, they can live the sustained battle. Ult comes through. Alvaro and Supa happy to take this as the overheated Rumble runs for his life. Now onto the next target. IgNar re-engages, but Alvaro has got a meaty shield on him. Patrik can help seal that, but Alvaro holds the charge and eventually pops it. They stay true, and for GIANTX, they back away after getting the Herald, getting the picks, and getting back into the game. It's only a 2K gold lead after we look through this valley of replays.
So this is ultimately a very nice play from GIANTX. They knew Fresskowy would come top, and the chain CC meant that he couldn't move. Knock up, knock up, knock up. He gets the W off at the very end, but it's not enough. The ultimate then used onto Elyoya, who tried to help his top laner. The Tahm Kench on his way as well. Has the Devour to take his jungler to safety. I thought this was not a great blast clone. IgNar ends up saving Elyoya. Should have been another pick in favor of Patrik. Meanwhile, Mrywn dying in mid. I believe that was the ultimate invested from Patrik. Oh, we're going to get a replay of exactly what happened. So Mrywn TP's in. He actually finds himself in a 1 versus 2. Really good ultimate. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a really nice combo. That ultimate really on top of ulti means that they have the damage. And GIANTX, it felt like that they were going to be a game that was going to very quickly fall out of their control. Suddenly it's coming back. IgNar, though, you do not want to engage that.
Yeah, I was going to say, IgNar's had a great game on an engaged support. He just has to flash away, unfortunately, as we get a reality check. Well, Odoamme at least getting topside turret, so it's not like that flash is going to be in vain. It does lead them up to that 30k mark on the top of your screen that you can see gets towards 1,000 the difference. A game that felt like it could have been over because of Elyoya's early lead, because of what was happening through topside, or excuse me, not topside, but what was happening in that early skirmish. Mad took a very convincing first 15 minutes of the game. Now that LeBlanc shutdown's been given over, gold being given back over, we have to see if MadKoi can do anything with Jackies, who fake seals his way out of there.
Nicely done. He has the third stack on the queue as well to get him away to safety. Doesn't lose the flash, but MDK doing a good cross map after realizing they've lost top. Now they have the Herald for mid. They can keep the pressure up. It's MDK that's forced to respond because GIANTX can just keep the pressure going if they want to. Now that Elyoya and Supa have made their way over, GIANTX realize they have to retreat. Jackies is going to continue to catching that bot side, and they're moving into the enemy jungle. What can they steal away here? Maybe they can catch Elyoya in a face check.
He's taking it cautiously. Supa and Alvaro are also nearby, and a note on supports this game. I mean, Alvaro has been a saving grace. Can he do it again? IgNar jumps on in that wall. Beautiful. Supa's caught out without the Tahm. Kench. Alvaro flashes to get nearby. Saves the day, but not for Elyoya. GIANTX again as a 5-man core, huge, but as the AoE comes through, Mrywn tries that contribute. Add in some flavor himself. Jumped on his Peach going on top of this Karma, but GIANTX have still done the damage. Everyone's still alive, and it keeps getting better for this blue-sided team.
Baron 40 seconds away, otherwise that could have been an objective that they played for.
Oh yeah.
GIANTX knew that they had the push in top. After dropping the Herald in mid, they moved into the topside jungle, and Elyoya, he just disrespects that. A nice engage comes out from GIANTX. They find another pick, and even though MDK hold on to the gold lead, it feels like that it's GIANTX running the direction of this game right now.
Which is crazy. Again, you have a Yone, you have an on-hit Varus. I mean, we've got a Rumble who's almost 2 items as well. I think we're going to kind of mention that there is shredding capabilities through all of these carries on GX towards a team that has a lot of shielding, that has a couple of bruiser, frontline tanks, whatever you want to call it. There are ways to get through, and their damage is getting worse and worse. So, again, as we get that Baron up, if another mistake like that happens from MadKoi, that's a very quick Baron too. That team will shred Baron, so Mad have to be careful.
I mean, MDK, we talked about it, they're a skirmish-heavy team, and sometimes they can get lost in the source. We've seen engage coming out from MDK.
Good route down. IgNar, though, not the unbeefiest of persons, if that's even a word. Peach runs into the choke. Teleport. Supa's low.
Fresskowy's in an awkward spot here.
Oh, Jackies as well is in a great spot, too. Look at him go. Fate sealed. And it's Mrywn whose death knell rings next. Supa doesn't get charmed out, or rather chained down. Elyoya now running for his life, but he's on the wrong side of the map. Supa is too. Like I said, Vedius, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse for MDK, as now you better believe that Baron, once Peach is done with this, should be the go.
I mean, I don't think Peach should be here. Him the one chasing for this kill, I think is... Can he get the smite? Nope, that's going to be an execute. Should be able to get some of the XP off the back of that, but that's going to be a Baron for GIANTX. And let's not forget that this started with MDK trying to collapse onto IgNar.
Yep.
He buys a lot of time thanks to the Celestial opposition, mitigating a lot of that initial damage. But he basically forces GIANTX into this very narrow choke point with which... Sorry, MDK funnel themselves into that choke point with which GIANTX can then respond and find a very favorable fight. For the first time in this game, they will hold on to the gold lead. The Dragon is still available. They're going to make a beeline towards it. They should be able to unlock this mid tower very easily. They can convert that into bot pressure to open up that final ladder tower. And it's going to give them so much more access to the enemy jungle, which then makes the map that much easier to play. GIANTX have definitely come online in what is a much needed game for them.
Oh yeah. You only play 9 of them through the split, right? Single round robin, and the fact that GIANTX were on the verge of potentially going 0-3 today. It's going to make things a little bit spicier. And Vedius, you like talking about the sauce. There'll be a lot of sauce around this one as well. I don't know what you mean when you talk about the sauce. I always thought sauce was like a bad thing, but you got to change your mind.
Sauce is like, it adds flavor. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
it's that,
like tomato sauce.
Yeah, tomato sauce.
You guys call ketchup here.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
No, tomato sauce and ketchup are two different things.
No, they're not. They're the same thing.
No, they're not.
They are the same thing.
One is made with tomatoes, one is made with sugar.
I don't want you to come over. But GIANTX, as they push through this turret, note that Mad are looking to fight this. That's because Elyoya with the ulti up and available.
Oh, Jackies.
Maybe you shouldn't fight anymore. Over the wall, Peach is ready to go in as well. Equalize is beautiful, and Fresskowy went golden right in the middle of the hot fire. He'll get burnt, as now with the ulti following through. It's GIANTX cleaning house, and Jackie's the rookie that could. On to the rival, and Fresskowy, he'll get burnt by another Odo. Nice shot. And all of a sudden, we turn the game around. It has been great for the past 7-8 minutes for GIANTX. And it keeps getting better.
A crazy turnaround from GIANTX. What felt like a game that was done and dusted. They find pick after pick. They repeatedly punish MDK. Now 11-6. A 5k goal lead. I thought that they would try and end, but they're actually going to play it safe. They're going to reset. Peach, he's going to fumble his Q over the wall, but it doesn't matter because the chain CC and the damage is good. Jackie's beautifully played. Takes half of Supa's HP. The ultimate there is so devastating for Odoamme. The Zhonya's comes out from Fresskowy, but it's not enough to keep him alive. And GIANTX, they just do one target at a time.
Yeah.
Very well played from GIANTX. It feels like that they just have so much damage on top of the utility that they provide. MDK just don't have the answers. And now they can start to break down the rest of the map. They have this constant pressure on the bot sides. They're now pushing that top wave. They need to get a wave in mids. They're going to start controlling that topside jungler as well, seeing if they can catch MDK once more.
You can see Fresskowy trying to manage the one wave they can, which other supers coming down the bottom side. Quick note, you'll be staying for Team Heretics and Fnatic coming up next. I know you're not going anywhere. You've probably got a life at home, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you should stay and watch the LEC, all right? Just chill out. Vedius and I will be here. We'll be coaching you through it because it could be something like this. It could be a massive flip of the wrist. 5.5k gold lead is what we're looking at now in GIANTX's favor. Objective's not up and available for now in 2.5 minutes. They do coincide with each other in that Baron and Dragon, but as you said, we'll have to see if they get another pick because another part of the base will be falling with it as well.
So now they can wait for these neutrals to come back up. Dragon, of course, a valuable objective, but not the highest priority. We're not at soul point yet, so even if GIANTX conceded, it's not the end of the world. But that Baron is what they want. They realize that they've done great damage now, but they can't afford to lose this. We already talked about how they find themselves in a 0-2 start to spring. They finished in 8th. It was close last split. Ideally, they want to show growth. They want to show improvement. They want to demonstrate that they can be better than what they were in Winter. And to take a win off of MDK, someone who qualified to the finals of Winter, would definitely be a huge step forward and probably one of the big upsets of this weekend. We haven't really had many so far.
I mean, the regular season is always strange, isn't it? You know, it's the regular season where you think G2 are like the 5th place team. And then something happens in playoffs.
I mean, that is, the nature of only 3 weeks, a lot of best of ones.
Yep.
A lot of inconsistencies from some of our teams. But it's about who can take advantage of that. Good damage onto Alvaro.
Starts with the chain corruption from Patrik. Jackie's able to dive these turrets. Remember, he's got sustain.
Look at top and bot though, slowly pushing in. That's what GIANTX need to wait for, that extra point of pressure. MDK will split apart, and then they can actually really start chipping down this tower in mid lane. Only 4 members, Elyoya off on the flank. Fresskowy starts to make his way back.
Good equalizer. Super again tagged out. Alvaro won't care too much, but enables GIANTX to step up to the turret. Remember, with the grubs in hand, they're doing some DPS to this inner turret as Elyoya looks for a position to flank, a position to entry. But GIANTX just turn back around and go, nah. We'll take it this time. Elyoya, what can you do? Turret's going to drop down. He's by himself. He's in a bounce house. Elyoya, nothing is the answer. GIANTX take 1 for free of charge. And MDK is sent running again.
Jackie still has his ultimate. He's going to use it.
Oh, fate is sealed. At this point, maybe I should look away. Supa's burnt down as well. Jackie's having another great start to the split. At least today, to say the least. As GIANTX looking for their first win on the board. They'll forget mid for the time being. They'll forget Fresskowy. They're on to a Nexus turret. And they're on to the last members of MDK. As for GIANTX, this could not have come sooner. To end this week number 1 of spring with a win means everything, especially against the finalists in MDK, as Patrik likes to add 1 on top. And GIANTX, welcome to the Spring Win Club.
I was not expecting the game to end that way. 27-minute victory.
Somehow.
Bear in mind, the kills were 1-5.
Yep.
They ended 16-6. Mrywn only found a single kill off the back of in between that time. And what an impressive performance from GIANTX. Your player of the game, you can vote over on X at LEC, Odoamme, Jackie's, IgNar. Tough to say, because it just felt like the GIANTX just continued to find those picks, and they just kept punishing Mrywn over and over and again.
Some of those tools were fantastic. All it took were a couple of engages. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break. When we return, Team Heretics and Fnatic. We've got an interview with Jackie's, though, before we run into that.
Red Bull gives you wings.